We educate the climber, we unload the tissues, and now it's time to increase mobility. Now this was a climber I saw that was a 30-year-old trad climber. He kept injuring multiple pulleys in his fingers. He reported that he climbed mostly outdoors, and he climbed in cold climates. I took a look at the tissue temperature of his fingers. I looked at zone 6 all the way down to zone 1. Zone 6 was 92 degrees, zone 5 was 92 degrees, zone 4 was 91 degrees, zone 3, 89, zone 2, 77, and zone 1 was 75. Now he had a greater than 6 degree difference between zone 6 and zone 1, and between zone 3 and zone 2, he had a greater than 3 degree difference. So I wanted to make sure that I can improve when he's climbing and warming up the blood flow and the warmth to his fingers. And so if we go through this process, we can think about different ways. As you see here on the screen, there's several external heating methods. You could use a heated chalk bag, a heated mechanical hand warmer, and a stationary heating device. There are several ways to improve internal heating as well. You can perform 5 to 10 minutes of some type of aerobic exercise. You can wear warm clothes, fuel your body with nutrition, perform tendon glides to glide the tendons underneath the pulleys, and perform finger intrinsic exercises. Since the finger intrinsics, the interossei and lumbricals, the muscles are in the hand, so the muscle bellies can generate warmth as well. Now specifically for the pulleys, if you look at this research study by Schweizer and colleagues, he identified that a warm-up of 100 climbing moves of increasing intensity increases the amount of physiologic bowstringing at the A2 pulley. And after 100 moves, the millimeters of bowstringing plateaus. So let's go through an example of a way that you can use the intrinsic muscles to increase blood flow to the palm. And if you remember for this climber, he had the issue between zone 2 and 1. So this could help circulate some blood flow into those zones. And watch how we can go through a couple simple exercises to warm up the intrinsic muscles before climbing. You come into this position, you start with your hands down low, and you just spread your fingers as wide as you can, and then squeeze them back in. And you really want to keep going, and you really want to put extra effort into that end range motion.
In, yeah.
In as well as out. But for you, for your project, definitely inwards. Now drop down into that climbing position. You can bring the arms up overhead. Bring your now arms into almost like a double cast on.
Right.
Lock it in like your project. So same position, get into that same position you're in your project. And then now spread wide, and then bring it all the way in. And then spread wide, and bring it all the way in. And you can do this like you're doing with your fingers extended and straight. You can also do it with your fingers bent. If you want more resistance, add a rubber band. So warming up both external factors as well as internal factors are so important for this climber because they're repeatedly injuring their pulleys because they don't have enough blood flow to that region, and also their pulleys aren't warmed up enough. So let's listen to Steve Bechtel, climbing performance coach, author, and climbing expert, as he goes through the different ways that climbers can warm up.
Well, you know, our circulation system is really a good deal. And so I think even if you can get your body to a place of feeling overwarm, it will pay off at the extremities. And so one of the things that I've just really adopted in the last couple of years with this in mind is to wear, like, even if I'm feeling pretty warm, I'll keep my down jacket on. And I'll keep like even a pair of down or insulated pants just to keep my temperature as high as possible. And then between, like, especially if it's cold out and you're trying a hard climb, there's a really interesting technique that I've seen a couple of climbers employ, which is to, you're going and you're trying your project and, it's got little cold crimps and whatever. You come down trying to stay warm. One of the things you can do is to walk over to a nearby climb that's quite easy. Like, say your project is a 512, you walk over and you do a 5.9 in between. The 5.9 is not hard enough to fatigue you or to make you work very hard, but it gets the blood flowing into those extremities. Then you can come down and then take your rest. But you just add that other, like maybe 5 to 8 minutes of general easy climbing activity, keep the fingers warm. Those portable hangboards are also really nice. You You can take them and hang them on the branch of a tree right by the crag. Do a couple little partial pull-ups or some hangs, just to kind of keep the hands warm. The other thing is, of course, to wear good, thick, warm gloves between and everything else. But yeah, just general warmth is the biggest thing for keeping yourself ready to act. Usually you can rest 30 to 45 minutes between like hard pulls on those fingers without increasing your injury risk, as long as you stay warm. But if your core temperature drops off, you forget it. Your fingers are going to be tired and or cold, and then your chance of injury really goes up.
So in order to warm up, get the blood flow to our fingers, there's many different ways that we can get the blood circulating. We can go through mobility flossing, we could use finger rollers, we could use acupressure rings, as well as just a brush to increase the vascularity down to the fingers. Let's look at each of those techniques.
Pulley spraying, mobility level 1. Slide an acupressure ring back and forth on your finger while pressing gently into the ring. Or try using a finger roller device to provide a deeper massage and increase circulation. You can also make a fist with your opposite hand, apply lotion to your finger, and slide your injured finger in and out of your fist. It may be wise to perform this technique in the privacy of your own home. This technique increases the circulation to the fingers. The fingers are far from the heart, and the ligaments in the finger lack adequate blood supply. It is important to increase the amount of blood to the finger to improve healing time.
Pulley spraying, mobility level 1 variation. Mobility flossing. Use a thick resistance band, voodoo floss, or rock floss. Cut the band 1.5 centimeters thick and 50 centimeters long. Wrap the band overlapping by 1/2 with up to 50% tension from the tip of your finger to the base. Perform 1 minute of finger flexion exercises in the open kinetic chain. Perform 1 minute of finger flexion exercises in the closed kinetic chain. Remove the band at any time if your finger goes numb or loses color. Take a brush and gently brush the front of your finger. Move up and down the proximal, middle, and distal phalanx. Brush the sides, as well as the back of the finger. To increase the amount of intensity, you can use a toothbrush, brushing on every side of the finger to increase the vascularity.